Good evening. Sometimes the mysteries most difficult to unravel are the ones planned with least efficiency. Perfect crime? A baby could solve that. But a mediocre crime? Well, that takes someone like me. Spooky stuff. As you know, you're watching Mysteries. What? I'm your host, Detective Derek Fogmachine, no relation, also retired. We have a very special program for you this evening. Later, we'll learn, can dogs look up? Who knows? We'll go to Constable Butterman with more. But first, what does Shrek mean? Well, to know that, we have to know where Shrek came from. Spooky stuff. In 1990, a children's book authored by William Steig, published by Farrar, Straus, and Giroux, appeared on shelves under the name Shrek! Is that how you say it? It looks like he's shouting at you. Put on your dancing shoes, this rabbit hole goes deep. Farrar Straus is a prestigious publishing house that have won multiple Pulitzer Prizes and 21 Nobel Prizes in literature, to name but a few of their books: A Wrinkle in Time, Holes, Bonfire of the Vanities, The Right Stuff, and Talk Everlasting. But back to Shrek! Shrek is actually a Yiddish phrase originally from the German. Am I not even going to try to pronounce any of this? Please check out the article linked in the card right there. There are so many fun Shrek words and phrases to explore and become richer from the experience. Yeah, we're not even to the movie yet, I'm sorry, hang on. The book, Shrek, begins with Shrek's parents being like, yo, you got to bounce to make something awful of yourself and get married to someone truly horrible. And we, your loving and slightly hateful parents, have heard tale of the most truly awful princess in all of the land. So Shrek starts walking, meets a donkey and a bunch of children who are not afraid of him, but really just strolls into the throne room, and both parties speak sweet horrible nothings to each other, and then they get married. Oh, I left out the part where Shrek kills some people. Whatever.
And they lived horribly ever after.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts! We open at the beginning of time. And then fast forward to the day DreamWorks SKG was created, the two most notable moments in human history. Shrek the movie, made under the tutelage of a still fairly young DreamWorks SKG. In fact, at its inception, producer John H. Williams brought the book quoted by the children around him to the attention of one Jeffrey Katzenberg. Objection! Heretofore known as Papa. Kids liked Shrek even if they couldn't read it. That's what caught Williams' attention. Katzenberg brought it into production almost immediately. The S and the K started interacting a little bit here because Spielberg had thought about making that book into a movie as a traditional animated film as far back as 1991 when he purchased the film rights to the book to do so. Apparently, Hook made him want to make Shrek. I guess, I don't know. In production, this film has a lot of stories about its troubles, directors leaving, producers refusing to be intimidated by Papa. It was rough, but we need to talk about the sizable elephant in the room. DreamWorks' previous computer animated film was Ants. A film that famously competed with A Bug's Life because Papa, after leaving Disney over an extended spat with one Michael Eisner,
one day after the company announced the resignation of Disney Studios chief Jeffrey Katzenberg,
who will be re-entering the story soon enough, sit tight, stayed in touch with Pixar and Disney employees to learn details on when A Bug's Life would come out and why it would be a success. Disney was hyped on A Bug's Life and thought it would, quote, do what Star Wars did for space movies, and Katzenberg asked very pointed questions about when it would release. And to be accurate here, Ants specifically came from a 1991 pitch and was exercised in that moment, but it's also important to remember that Katzenberg admitted to doing this. There was a movie in production. He gained information about that movie in production, which is information that could aid in the movie he had in production. Also, it's worth remembering that Papa was feuding with Disney leadership at the time, and they both did this to each other. Prince of Egypt, DreamWorks' first animated film, got a surprise partner on its release date from Disney, with A Bug's Life appearing on the same day. DreamWorks then moved the film away from A Bug's Life to the holiday season, but a bit later, Papa moved Ants to before A Bug's Life would come out. Disney and DreamWorks did this to each other all the time, and this was at the expense of the artists working for them. Just to editorialize here, when film executives act like this, it hurts the artists making the films the most. They moved Ants from 1999 into 1998 to accomplish this. There is no one to root for when studios do this. Anyway, let's get weird. Nicolas Cage was offered the role but turned it down because he didn't want to play an ogre. Chris Farley was actually cast as Shrek, even recording most of the film, but tragically passed away while they were still in production and before he had completed his work on the role. Mike Myers accepted the role under the idea that they would rewrite the script so that his Shrek was nowhere near Farley's Shrek. He recorded all of the dialogue and then thought a Scottish accent would be better, so they recorded it again. Also, Fiona was originally Janine Garofalo, and I need a version of Shrek where Shrek and Fiona are played by Nick Cage and Janine Garofalo. Shrek went on to gross $484 million worldwide. A gift for Papa, indeed.
Art comes from a lot of places. It's the central conflict of filmmaking. How can you honor yourself as an artist and put together a meaningful business? But allow me to rephrase the question. Can you make meaningful art from a dishonest place? Well, to talk about that, we'll have to talk about
the first shot of the movie is of Shrek wiping his ass with a book of fairy tales. Nuanced? This isn't. It then introduces us to Lord Farquaad selling off the fairy tales seen in Disney films. Tinkerbell, Snow White, Pinocchio, you name it. This entire film is feedback for Disney. It is weird that Disney basically owns everything about story, characters, and art that were written long before their time. Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, the list goes on. Once upon a time, these were all radically different stories. There are at least 3 variations on Sleeping Beauty from the earliest recognizable versions of the narrative, 2 of which, for some reason, conclude with trying to cook children as if they were food, and 1 where the prince's mother is actually an ogre. Anyway, my point is fairy tales are pretty hardcore, and Disney treated the public domain so much like an all-you-can-eat menu that they essentially own these stories now. All I'm saying is that it is incredibly valid feedback for other studios to lay at Disney's feet, no matter how much I happen to like Star Wars. I think, oddly, Shrek the film has more teeth now, 18 years later, than it did when it came out, and is openly telling Disney, you don't get to own everything. They made sure to even rib Disney's theme parks, including an extended riff on the whole It's a Small World thing. So there really isn't a lot of visible ambiguity here on where this film was aimed. Shrek also eats a lot of eyeballs. Where does he get all the eyeballs? What does it even mean? Ultimately, Shrek is a film about how it doesn't matter who you are capable of great things. Lots and lots of people will tell you, you aren't capable, but they're just living their own biases. Anyway,
Meaning. A word that means itself. Or does it? Spooky stuff. Shrek is a 2001 film that means a hell of a lot of things to a hell of a lot of people. But none of that has anything to do with the narrative it is telling. What's key here is to look all the way back to where Shrek started and why the movie even exists in the first place. If you go all the way back to producer John H. Williams, this guy, the guy that brought this book to everyone's attention in the first place, you'll look at the fact that he wanted to do this because he realized kids fell in love with Shrek, even if they couldn't read the book. They liked the character in lieu of the narrative. They liked Shrek just cause he was Shrek. A lot of them would just open the book and make up their own stories for the pictures they were seeing. They would tell their own stories about Shrek. It is a disaffected defense mechanism cloaking our nostalgia in an irony so thick that no one can tell whether we actually love it with true emotions or adoration, or if we're just making fun of it. Do you get it?
Shrek is a great character. We can root for Shrek. He's us. People aren't fair to him. And seriously, where are you getting all those eyeballs? Outcasts stick together. They're like onions, and definitely not cake. Shrek is a meme because the movie is a meme. Robin Hood pulls a river dance and makes a joke about getting head.
I like an honest fight and a saucy little maid. What he's basically saying is he likes to get paid.
In a kid's movie. Fiona then pulls a Matrix in the same scene like 2 full years after that movie came out. What I'm saying is, sometimes the idiot is the one you need to hear from. Shrek can mean whatever you want it to mean. I see the valuable, if wildly on-the-nose critique here. And that probably came from a petty place of anger and rage, where 2 rich white dudes just got really mad at each other because they just weren't rich enough. But that's also why all of this context is necessary. How can you talk about what something means without knowing how it was made and where it came from? Gosh, I guess what I'm saying is, Shrek really does have layers.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb The years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smarter but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the moon. It's a cool place, and they say it gets colder. You're bundled up now, wait till you get older. But the media men beg to differ, judging by the hole in the satellite picture. The ice we skate is getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. My world's on fire, but how about yours? That's the way I like it, and I'll never get bored. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get